This was our Odroid H3 Plus computer at the end of the last video. We have mounted the Odroid in a Maker Beam frame. And to the left of the Odroid is the interface card we're going to be using to connect our Radeon RX6600 Graphics Card to the Odroid via the M2 slot on the underneath of the Odroid board. So in order to do this, I've extended the Maker Beam frame. This gives us the Odroid in the top part of our case, and the bottom part of the case here is going to be where we're mounting the graphics card. So we've now turned the computer into a small tower. So our first task is to mount the interface card into which we're going to plug the graphics card. So we're going to detach the bottom part of the Maker Beam frame so we can accommodate that. So now that we've detached this section of the Maker Beam frame, we'll move the rest of the frame out of the way to allow us to concentrate on the bottom part. So this is the part we need to connect to the bottom part of this frame. It is equipped with 4 screw-on rubber feet. Now we're going to detach these and use these holes to connect it to the Maker Beam frame. And that's the 4 rubber feet disconnected. So in order to mount our interface, we're going to use 2 additional cross beams. And into these cross beams we can actually bolt the frame like so. So let's get these in place first of all. Right, that's one cross beam in place with its 2 long bolts ready to accept our interface card. We mainly have to duplicate this on the other side now. Right, okay, let's try that now. Right, and we will just screw these into place. Now that we know how far this needs to be apart. And now all we need to do is to line these 2 up. And I think we're there. And that seems quite robustly screwed into place. We'll now try fitting the graphics card to make sure it fits in securely. Right, we can now add the 2 little screws to hold it in on its vertical support. And our graphics card is now securely held on our interface card. So next task is to bolt this back into the main assembly of the Maker Beam frame. And then we can connect the M2 card here to the M2 slot on the underneath of the Odroid. Now we'll just get this bolted into position, and there we have the graphics card mounted in position. Let's now connect our card's interface to the Odroid. As you can now see, our interface card is now plugged in to the M2 slot on the bottom of the Odroid board. And that was our graphics card in place. So now we have the frame complete with our graphics card connected to the interface board, which is also connected to the Odroid. Unfortunately, the graphics card, being quite long, does stick out the back of the frame. so we could probably think about extending this frame slightly further forward so we can actually cover the whole graphics card. However, we can leave that till a later video. Our next task is to mount the power supply. The interface card has 3 connectors at the bottom into which the power supply can actually fit. The interface card does ship with a power cable to connect this output to the input of the graphics card itself. However, we're going to leave the fitting of the power supply for a later video. That's it for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching.